Hello, and welcome to What's Brewing, a Faith Unfiltered series where we explore the question, what is mission and why does it matter? I'm your host, Robin Linkhart, and I am here today with 70 Ruth Richardson, who serves as pastor of the Kirkwood Community of Christ congregation in Missouri, a congregation that has been on a marvelous journey of mission as they risked something new and explored community partnering. Welcome, Ruth. We're so glad to have you today. Thanks for making time.
Glad to be here.
So, we always like to take a few minutes for introductions. So, please tell us a little bit about you and the average day in the life of Ruth Richardson.
Um, my name is Ruth, and I was born and raised and lived my entire life in the St. Louis metro area. Kind of the joke in my family is that I did not change my zip code until I was 35. So, I have my family consists of four kids plus a bonus kid. I have four grandchildren, and I cannot forget my two dogs and two cats. I have two golden retrievers and a couple of mute, what's the word I'm looking for? Mutt cats. I'm mostly retired, and my hobbies are quilting, playing pickleball, gardening, reading, and providing tech support for various groups of friends and just whoever. One of the groups is the World Church Diversity and Inclusion team, and the other big group is a contemplative outreach St. Louis team that rents space from us in the Kirkwood congregation.
That's awesome. And I love when you said mute, let's see, mute cats. No, mutt cats. I love look, because there are some cats I wish were mute, but
Yes.
anywho, yeah.
Yes.
Most cats I love. Okay, so we're going to talk about this journey you've been on, and I just want to start at the beginning and give you some time to set the stage for your story of mission with community partners. And and I think maybe if you start with when you first became the pastor for Kirkwood congregation and kind of help us to get to know your congregation and all the things.
Sure. So, I became pastor, I believe, in January of 2017. As you said, the congregation is located in kind of a suburb of St. Louis, which is Kirkwood, Missouri. Um, the congregation has about 400 people on the rolls, but we have 45 to 50 active attendees. Most of our congregation is older people. We do have some younger families, but not very many. Um, and one of the interesting things for me about Kirkwood is in the early 1980s, I think around 1984, we had a congregation that was located in the city of St. Louis, um, that was closed and sold. And a lot of those people came to Kirkwood. So a lot of the Kirkwood membership are people that I have known my entire life. Some of the unique qualities about Kirkwood is that one of the big ones about the building is that there are no steps. We have no basement and no second floor. So Kirkwood is just all on one level. And that plays a big part in the story later. But generally speaking, the people there are just the most loving, welcoming, accepting people that you could meet, much like anywhere else in Community of Christ. The location of the building is in a somewhat upscale neighborhood, which makes community outreach rather difficult because we're always trying to figure out how do we find people in, around the church that are people in need, and how can we minister to those people? So
Wow, that's amazing. And I really love the understanding that in 1984 the city congregation closed and a lot of those folks came out to Kirkwood, which kind of diversifies your congregation more than I would anticipate your neighborhood might be diversified.
That is we are still predominantly a white congregation. We do have some people of color that come, but generally speaking, we're pretty white. Um, so not as diverse as we'd like to be.
And socioeconomically, is that different than what the neighborhood would be?
Um, it varies. I think we have people who are pretty socioeconomically fit into the neighborhood, but we do have some people who are lower socioeconomic group of people. So
Awesome. Do you have any schools in your neighborhood or are those further out?
the closest school is probably a mile from the building itself.
Hmm.
And so the interesting thing about Kirkwood too is that it is its own municipality. St. Louis is kind of the metro area is a patchwork of all of these different municipalities. And the city of St. Louis is unique because it is only one of two cities in the United States that are not a part of the county in which it sits. So St. Louis City and St. Louis County are completely separate entities.
Hmm.
And I believe the only other one is Baltimore. Um, but it gives there's a lot of us versus them between
Hmm.
the city and the county. Um, Kirkwood has its own school district, as do many of the other municipalities, the other suburbs around St. Louis. So yeah, Kirkwood has its own school district, which will also I hope I remember to talk about that later because that's part of the story too.
Yeah. So this is really great because it really kind of helps set the stage and the scene and the just kind of the reality facts, of life there. Um, okay, now we're ready for you to take us on this journey of mission and community partnering. And you just tell us all the things that you need to say about that because it's such an amazing story.
Yes, it really, really is. So Kirkwood has always had what we call a quarterly outreach. And what that looks like is we have two people on a team and they look for organizations that we can um, donate to or partner with. So for I'll give you a couple of examples. We went out of the church building one Sunday and we helped kind of in the neighborhood nursing home set up for a family day. So that meant setting up tables and chairs and things like that. We prepared a meal for Ronald McDonald House. We have made blankets for a crisis nursery and we still do those things. And we also have a jar that sits at the front of the congregation and during offertory, kids and just people go put change and money in that jar. So so when we're getting ready to wrap up our quarterly outreach, we take whatever money is in that jar and substitute things for, purchases for those things. Last Christmas, our quarterly outreach was three gentlemen who live in a home and they're all nonverbal. So we adopted them for Christmas and purchased gifts that were appropriate for them and then delivered them to the place where they live. So the money in the jar, kind of helps fund some of that. So my part of the story, or the Kirk Care part of the story, kind of begins when I first became pastor. Um, I had heard about Kirk Care. There is always kind of a Kirk Care this or Kirk Care that in conversation within the church. But I didn't know anything about them. And we had, as part of our quarterly outreach, collected an offering that we were going to give to Kirk Care. And the person who was responsible for delivering that check came to church one Sunday very frustrated and said, I can't figure out how to get in touch with them. And I've tried and I just don't know what to do. So I said, I will take the check. I will figure it out. So the first thing I did was look for a presence on the internet, and I found their webpage. And when I found their webpage, I was surprised to see that all of the pictures on their website were taken on the inside of the Kirkwood church. So when I got in touch with them, I started asking questions about who they are and what they do. And I learned that they are an ecumenical organization. So any denomination that is within the city limits of Kirkwood is allowed to have up to 2 board members that sit on the Kirk Care board. So I decided we needed to have somebody sit on the board. So I joined the organization as a board member so that I could learn more about them. And then what I learned was that for about 30 years, Kirk Care, let me back up for a second. So Kirk Care provides food assistance and utility assistance to people who live within the Kirkwood School District that are in need. So every week they are allowed to shop at the pantry. If they can't come to the pantry, Kirk Care mails them a voucher that they can take to a grocery store, and they can use that as money at the store. They also help people pay their utility bills if they are in danger of having their gas or electric shut off. Kirk Care has an agreement with the local utility companies. All they need is an account number, and they can log in and they can pay a utility bill for somebody. The first ask from Kirk Care is always free. Like, somebody can come to Kirk Care and say, I need help with this utility bill, or I need food, and Kirk Care does it with no questions asked. If you want or need to be an ongoing client, then you have to submit information about your income. And I don't remember exactly what the limits are, but somewhere around the poverty line. That's another thing that's of benefit to us, is the fact that they do all of the vetting to make sure that their clients are people in need. So every year, these people who they help all year long get an extra box of food at Christmas time. So they call it the Christmas box event. And they come into our congregation because it's all on one level. There are no steps anywhere. And they set up a grocery store where the people can come, and they bring in shopping carts and just do all kinds of things. And their clients come in and they go shopping in the store. So after a year or so, I got the idea that maybe we should offer a free garage sale. There was another congregation in the St. Louis area that had done that. And they stopped. I don't remember what the reason was, but they stopped hosting this free garage sale. So we, as a congregation, just decided to kind of do it. And when I presented it to the president of Kirk Care, he was a little bit unsure about what that looked like and a little bit hesitant, but ultimately he agreed. And then I was like, oh my gosh, what have we done? So what this looks like is the Kirkwood congregation is kind of divided in half, and you walk in between the two halves. So you come into the entryway, and the sanctuary and the fellowship hall is on your left, and we have a large classroom area that is on the right. So Kirk Care sets up their grocery store in the fellowship hall, and Kirkwood collects anything that you would take to Goodwill except for furniture. We will take and we set it up kind of like a store. So we have clothes, we have kitchenwares, toys, linens, back to school items, shoes. I mean, games, anything that you could possibly imagine that people have just decided to donate. So the first year, we were kind of just figuring out what we were doing, and we had enough, which was important. But then when it came time for the second year, I was like, oh my gosh, everybody in the congregation has already cleaned out their closets and their homes and gotten rid of things that they don't want to use anymore. So where are we going to get donations from now? And I should also say that the Kirk Care president came back to me and said that their clients absolutely loved it and they were hoping that we would do it again next year. So the congregation just kind of bravely said, yes, we will do it again. So we started kind of just asking everybody that we could think of for donations. And that just means, after a pickleball game, I'll say, hey, my church is collecting donations for this free sale that we host for people. If you have anything, please think about giving it to us. And as it turns out, people really would prefer to give to us than Goodwill. So I often on that day refer to it as the story of the loaves and fishes, because people come in and they take, and after several hours of people being there and taking whatever they want, it looks like we still have a multitude of stuff to give away. So the goal is to get rid of everything every year, because we have the same 200 or so families that we serve every year. If they didn't take it this year, we don't want to present it to them again next year. So one year we rented a U-Haul and we took it to Goodwill. One year we have a couple of those purple donation bins that are on our parking lot, and I got in touch with, it's United Global Threads. I got in touch with them, and they happily came and picked up our leftovers and used it for another nonprofit organization that is inside Kirkwood. It's called Book Go, and they have a bookmobile that provides free books to kids who do not have access to libraries in their neighborhood. So I'm trying to remember, 2 years ago, when it started to look like we were going to have more left over than what we could possibly manage, I posted on Facebook, free sale. The Kirk Care clients had already come and gone, and Kirk Care was closed up for their day. So I posted just in Facebook Marketplace and invited anybody who wanted to come and take whatever they wanted for free. And we had a pretty good showing, and people took basically everything. I think we had 3 boxes that were left. So this past year, in preparation for that, I made a post on Facebook and I said that we would not open until 1, because we want our Kirk Care clients to have first choice. So they come from 9 to noon, and then we open it to anybody who can see the advertisement on Facebook. So in December, we had a line that stretched the width of our parking lot to the street of people waiting outside to get in at 1 o'clock. And it was amazing because it was a cold day and nobody was upset. Everybody was just very calmly kind of waiting in line, and then we had to stagger because we have so much stuff sitting around that we don't have enough room to let everybody in. So we did staggered entrance, and people were just very, very gracious about it. It was just wonderful to see. So I got a phone call from somebody who found the church's phone number on Facebook, and she said, this is going to be a really strange question, but can I have whatever you have left over? So I said, what are you going to do with it? And she said, she explained that she is a person who is in treatment for cancer, and she had joined with a group in the St. Louis area called Zen Horse. And Zen Horse has rescued a herd of wild Mustangs and trained them to be therapy horses. So if you are struggling with a long-term illness or addiction or any kind of trauma, then you can come to Zen Horse and experience this therapy horse. I'm not exactly sure what they do, but the lady that I met with said it's a wonderful experience. So she came and took everything that we had left over after everyone else had come in from the parking lot, and she took our leftovers to a thrift store called Savers, where they sell or they buy donations by the pound, and she was able to get money and take the money to use to take care of the horses at Zen Horse. So that was just really, really cool, I thought. We had a lady who was in a wheelchair, and she was at the front of the line this past year. She was at the front of the line. So not a Kirk Care person, but just somebody kind of from the area. And she had a loud voice. And when somebody would go to the door and say, it's going to be 10 more minutes, she would kind of yell to everybody in the line, it's going to be 10 more minutes. So people inside the church had kind of gotten a little bit afraid of her personality. So when she made it inside the church, she started saying, I need to speak to whoever is in charge. So nobody wanted to talk to her. So the person came and said, this lady out here, she wants to talk to the person in charge. I think that should be you. So I said, okay, I'll go talk to her. I'll see what's up. And when I went over to talk to her, she presented me with a little jar of hot cocoa mix. And she said, I just wanted to give this to someone to say thank you for everything that you're doing. We also had the opportunity to provide an administration for a young lady who is a Kirk Care client, who is fighting stage 4 cancer. And there was another Kirk Care client who's an older lady, and she was just kind of staring at the wall when I approached her to see if she needed help with anything. And she said, I prayed to God for a car, and I told God if he would help me get a car, that I would use that car to minister to people. And she said, I feel standing here that I need to be a part of this, that if it means going and picking people up who can't make it here or coming and helping set up, then I feel like that's why I have this car. So she is on our list to contact for 2026 to help us with setup. We had a young woman who came in. I think her mother was affiliated with Kirk Care. And she heard about what we were doing and she came in to donate some baby clothes. And she said, I'm a member of a mom's group and our moms would love to come and help you with setup next year. So, one of the things that has been really interesting to me is that we haven't it hasn't meant an increase in our membership, but it has meant that we have been able to bless people in our community, in our midst, and find those people that need to be blessed. And through blessing them, we are the ones who are I mean, I just feel like we're the ones who are feeling the blessing. Um, I just, I don't know. There are so many rich stories that come out of this one day and even the days leading up to it. Um, so we have pickleball people that come and help us set up last year. We have some LGBTQIA plus people who have been harmed by religion that don't want anything to do with church, but they feel that it's their calling every year to come and help us set up for the sale. Um, the blessings just grow every year. So yeah.
That's really amazing. I love it. And I had the honor of hearing this story when we were together at reunion a week before last. And wow, I guess today's Friday, so that was last week.
In pictures, you got to see pictures.
Yes, yes, and even in the retelling, there are other things spilling out, that we didn't talk about or that I missed, and it makes me tingle all over with the Holy Spirit because the relationship connection and the divine synchronicity
Mhm.
and the witness that people want to make a difference for good in the world. And when they see others doing that, they volunteer to help. I mean, that is amazing. That's amazing. So
It is. It
you've
is.
you've talked a little bit about this, but what did you learn during this experience?
I cannot stress enough how important it is to find a worthwhile organization in your area and partner with them rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. I just feel like we are doing so much more by partnering with Kirk Care than we could have ever done on our own. And providing ministry to people that we know are truly, truly in need. Um, and it's amazing. One of the things that I just now came to my mind is that these people who come to our free boutique or free sale, a lot of these people don't have much. And we have had people, we had someone last year who wanted to give us money and we said no, thank you. And they just kept insisting until we finally agreed that we would take the few dollars that they had given us and we would put it in our jar to go towards our next quarterly outreach. We had another person who went home and gathered things in their home and brought them back to be added to our display of stuff. So I mean, even people who are in need want to be a part of being a blessing to others that they feel like have even less than them. So I mean,
Yes.
it's just amazing. So amazing.
Yeah, and that I think is one of the things that we learn when we are working side by side with people in need is that they want to also be part of providing the bridge to the future of helping others. And it's so empowering. It's hard, like you said, to take money from someone that you know needs it or other things, but it's so empowering to receive graciously whatever they want to give to help because It's empowering to them. It's life-giving to them, and they're part of that circle of giving.
And so many people just want you to hear, they just want to tell their story. Like the lady with the car. They just want to tell their story. They want to feel like they're visible to people in society. So, and we try really hard to present things in a fashion that is like what you would see at a store. The clothes are all neatly folded or hanging because we want them to come in dignity. So that's also very important to us.
Yes. Yes. That it's like preparing for company, right?
Yes, very much so.
And they're honored guests to come and be with
Hmm.
you. And wow. So, what do you know now that you wish you had known when you first started this journey?
Do not be afraid to risk something new. Um, I was so afraid that it was not going to be successful. And even after our first successful year, I was so afraid the next year that it was not going to be successful. But God has provided a way for us to continue. And even if we were not still able to continue, the years that we were able to do it meant something. So even if you risk for a few years and then it runs its course, then that is meaningful. Um, let's see. Invite people of all walks and all faiths and just anybody. Invite. And one of the things that I think is really important in the Kirkwood congregation is that we see our building as a tool instead of something that I mean, it is precious to us and we do want to keep it. And we don't get, I mean, this is a completely free event. Kirk Care doesn't even pay us rent for the use of our building, but it is a tool for us to be able to provide ministry in the community, even if it doesn't mean that those people then come to church. It's just very, very important. So those are probably my big takeaways. And get a Google Voice number. I think that's really important.
Okay, so explain to our listeners what a Google Voice number is.
So we created a Gmail, which is a Google email account for the church. And if you have a Google email account, then you can also create a Google Voice number. And basically what that is just a phone number. It's not attached to a physical phone. You go in and you set it up, and then you can set up additional so real phone numbers that will ring when somebody calls that Google Voice number. Um, one of the things that so I did that as pastor because during COVID, we gave up our landline. So I was looking for a free way that we could have a phone number. And what I've learned is so many people call the church during the week asking for help or asking for prayer or anything, and they get me on the other end of the phone, or it could be anybody, but they get a voice and not an answering machine. And that's a way that I can publicize the church's phone number, like on our Facebook Marketplace post, without having to give out my personal phone number. So it's a really good way for people to be able to reach somebody connected to the church at any time.
This is a fantastic idea. These are the kinds of things that come up. I mean, this is a very pragmatic, saves money, even if you're not doing outreach. But oh my gosh, look at all the people that can connect with a live person and what a difference that makes. If you have a live human that answers and you're like, oh, wow, you really are alive. That's great.
Yeah, and it's awesome because I get phone calls and then I get to say, someone will call us and they're asking for food or help with utilities, and I can say, I'm sorry, we don't do that, but call Kirk Care, and I can give them Kirk Care's phone number. And Kirk Care has a list of resources that they do not provide that they have shared with us. So we have a list of resources that is available for people who call us. And it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to answer the phone and feel like you've given the person an opportunity to tell their story. And then you haven't just said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that." But and a lot of times I will say, call this place, and if you do not get a response or if they're not able to help you, please call me back and I will help you look for the next place.
Hmm.
So you're allowing, you're giving them a voice where they just don't really have one otherwise.
Yeah,
So Google Voice.
that's great. And then the other thing is when you are actively involved with other organizations, nonprofits in the community that are helping people, you know the names and the faces, you have
Yes.
relationship, and that comes through. I mean, a lot of congregations have a referral list, but how many congregations are partnering with people on that list
Yep.
where you can vouch personally? It's just amazing. It's just, I love it. The ripple effect of blessing, as you say, um, is is incredible.
We had a man that used to come into our church on Sunday morning. He would always come in and sit in the back, like in the North X, and not come into the building. And he would wait until church was over, and then he would ask me for money. And I would, we would take a little money out of the jar, and then at some point I said, his name was Larry. I would say, Larry, you really should talk to Kirk Care. And he started saying, I call them and they don't answer. So one day while he was standing in the Northex, I called the person at Kirk Care and I said, Elliot, I have this man here. He says he's unable to get in touch with you. And he said, he's on our rolls. Let me help him. So relationship is very powerful. It really, really is.
Love it. Okay, Ruth. So, what words of wisdom or challenge can you share with other congregations and ministers listening to your story?
I mean, again, I'm partner, 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 partner. Every municipality has worthwhile organizations that are probably right near where your church sits. Um, and not every organization is for everyone. So find something that's a good fit for your congregation. Talk to your congregants. Do it as a team. But find somebody that you can partner with so that you're not working yourselves to death. Especially with, a lot of our congregations are smaller. And we need help to be missionaries in the world. And don't forget about your friends because we have friends that come to help us set up for the sale. And it's kind of it's a safe way for them to engage in church, even if they have their own church. They don't feel like we're trying to convert them. It's just coming to help and being a part of something that they feel like is meaningful. So my biggest thing is partnership. Partnership.
Yeah. And I love what you said. It doesn't matter how small you are when you partner because
Mhm.
partners are looking for the same thing that we're looking for when we partner is it's like stone soup. What little bit of the stone soup can you bring and put in the pot? And
Right.
and everybody has a place. Just a lovely thing.
It really is.
So let's step back just a little bit and I want to ask a broader question. What are your hopes for Community of Christ?
So first and foremost, I have to say I love Community of Christ. I was born and raised in the church, so it's kind of natural to me to have a love for the church. Um, but I just feel like we are embarking on something that is so meaningful. Um, I want for Christ's mission to grow, and I feel like that is something that we are really poised to do at this point in the church's life. I want people to feel sacred and loved and welcomed and part of a community that is a family. And I just feel like that's kind of Community of Christ's niche, is that we are community, we are family. Um, so my hope is just that even though we're small, we will continue to be missionaries in the world, and we'll continue to show Christ's love to everyone.
Love it. So, Ruth, is there anything else you want to share today? Maybe something that popped into your mind that you'd like to leave with us?
I can't think of anything right now, but in 5 minutes I'll have something.
Right. Not a problem. Well, thank you so much for making time to be with us. I know that you do have a very busy life, and it just means so much to have you come and bear your testimony and be this faithful reflection of Christ in the world, and then come and tell us what you've seen and how God is at work in the world. So thank you, Ruth.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel honored to be here, and I love to tell this story. So.
And as always, a very special thanks to you, our listeners, for spending a portion of your day with us. This is your host, Robin Linkhart, and you are listening to Faith Unfiltered. Go out and make the world a better place. Take good care. Bye bye.